So God saw that, look, I need to make a being for this man that I have created that he could relate with, he can interact with at a higher level. And so he needed to complete the work, as it were, that he had started. So companionship has to do with friendship. Even though humans today make friends with animals, with dogs, and the rest of that, but from the scriptures, you can see that that was not the original intention of God. Okay? That was not the original intention of God. Marriage is about companionship. Marriage is about friendship. For me, I never really understood what friendship was all about until I got married. Because my wife is my friend. I have colleagues, I have business partners, I have associates, and the rest of that. Yes, but my wife is my friend. And when your wife is your friend, you can't get tired of that marriage. When you make your spouse your friend, you cannot be bored in that marriage, because you have a lot to talk about. You have a lot to gist. You have a lot to say. You have a lot to share one with another. But when your partner, your spouse, is not your friend, you are like strangers in the home. You don't know him, he doesn't know you, she doesn't know you, and then you're just living together as if you are the landlord and then the wife is the tenant. It shouldn't be. So marriage is for companionship. When you know this, you know peace. Number 3, marriage is for communion. I use the word communion in quotes. If there is any place that God has ordained that the man and the woman should relate, and that's intimately, getting to know each other very well, getting into conjugal relationship and marital benevolence, then it is in marriage. Anything outside that, it's a sin. Immorality, adultery, or fornication. So if there is any provision, any forum that God has made for you to commune with your wife, to have fellowship, intimate fellowship with your wife, I'm sure you understand what I'm talking about. To have intimate fellowship with your wife, then it is in marriage. Anything outside that is not acceptable. And number 4, marriage is for the purpose of co-creation. Co-creation. The one a lot of us know is that, we are meant to procreate. All right, we are meant to procreate. However, marriage is not just about procreation, it is also about co-creating with your wife. We're informed in Genesis chapter 2 that God rested on the 7th day from all his work which he had made. Okay, what does this mean? It simply means that what God did at creation was to create a system that will continue with the work of creation without him getting involved directly. God does not need to come up again now and then to create the man and then bring out the woman, and then before he will now go back again, create another man to become their child. No. What God did was to create a system. He created a tree with a fruit and gave the fruit the ability to bring seed, and the seed has the ability to bring forth another fruit. Right? So he made the man and gave him the ability to meet with a woman and then procreate, bring forth another seed. So now that God in a way has stopped the work of creation, it is now for us to continue with the work of creation. But because many people don't understand that marriage is for co-creation, they only focus on procreation, and so you see the man and the woman just making babies and making babies and making babies. Marriage is not all about making babies. Marriage is about you coming together. Remember, I talked about developing and deploying potentials. So you bring your potentials together, the two of you, and then you are able to bring up solutions that will impact your society. You bring up solutions that will impact your environment. You bring up solutions that will change your community. It shouldn't be that you're just having children and then you have 7, 8, 9, 10, 14 children. Excuse me, that's not what marriage is all about. I'm not saying you should not have children, but that's not what marriage is all about. So you need to sit down. If you are in ministry, for example, like myself, you are in ministry, you need to ask yourself, okay, fine, this is the calling I have as a pastor, and this is my wife. How do we come together to make this ministry work, to be effective? That is co-creation. Bringing up solutions to solve the problems in the church. Bringing up solutions to solve the problem in your community. So it's not just for you to sit down and then you sit in your house and the only thing you are doing is just making babies. If that is the way you see marriage, that's a very myopic perspective. It's broader than that. It's bigger than that. So you need to see it from a bigger perspective so that you can utilize the purpose for which God made you. So when you understand this purpose, it will be very, very, easy for you to live in marriage. But if you don't, it will be difficult. Very difficult. And that tells me why a lot of persons, when maybe after 1 year or 2 years, the woman has not been able to conceive, the man becomes very aggressive, family members are talking, friends are making comments, and everybody is talking because their own concept of marriage is that marriage is about procreation. But when you understand that marriage is not just about procreation, but about co-creation, with or without a child in the marriage can still be very, very impactful. With or without a child in the marriage, the home can still be very sweet and enjoyable. With or without the child in the marriage, the partners, the both of you, the husband and wife, can still fulfill purpose with or without the child. So we need to get it right. All right? So you not put yourself under unnecessary pressure because of what people will say or because of the concept that people have when it comes to the issue of marriage. Now let me share my personal experience with you, and then I will end the session. And before I got married, I knew that I was going to end up working for the church or working in the church. I knew I would end up being a missionary, okay? Because I knew I had a calling of God. So this awareness made me to know that, number one, I cannot marry an unbeliever. I cannot marry somebody who does not believe in Jesus Christ. I cannot marry somebody who is not born again. My purpose already defined the kind of person that I can marry. Because if I go outside of that, then I will not be able to fulfill my purpose. This is very clear. Number two, my purpose also made me know that I cannot marry according to the will of my people. I cannot marry according to the will of my community or my village, but I must marry according to the will of God. I must marry according to the will of God. So there was no way I could just walk on the street and just see a lady in skirt and just begin to talk to her and approach her and then tell her I want to marry you. No, there was no way I could do that. My purpose already made me know that you can't go this way. This is the way you have to go. So there was no struggle at all. It was very easy for me to walk in that path because that is the path to fulfill my purpose. All right. Number three is that my purpose also made me to know that I cannot marry outside my denomination. Now, I'm not saying that you should not marry outside your denomination. If that flows with your purpose, that's fine. But for me, the purpose for my life and my purpose for getting into marriage already made it clear to me that I can't marry outside my denomination. So I didn't need to fight my church elders. I didn't need to quarrel with my pastors. I didn't need to challenge the constituted authorities in the church because I want to go and marry outside. No, it was not necessary. I already had my purpose clearly defined, so it was easy for me to walk in that path. All right. And lastly, understanding my purpose in life and also understanding God's purpose for marriage, I knew that there was no way I could marry anyhow. No. A marriage is meant to be a model. So there was no way I could just go out there, impregnate a lady, and then because of that, I now marry her. No. A marriage is meant to be a model. I knew it from the beginning, even before I got into marriage. So there was no way I could just marry anyhow. No. So for those who are having issues with following the authorities of their church or with following the counsel of their elders or whatever it is, I think there's really no need for all of that. What you need to do is to go back to God in prayers. Identify and define God's purpose for your marriage. And with that, you will know where you are supposed to be. It was not, how do I put it now? It wasn't very difficult for me to put off, the proposals that was being made by my family members. Oh, marry from this tribe, marry from that tribe, marry from this tribe. No, that was not a problem for me at all. It was easy for me to deal with that because I knew that what God wanted for me and my purpose for life or in life, I can't just marry from any tribe. No, I needed to get direction from God. I needed to seek direction from Him, and I submitted myself to the leading of the Spirit of God, and here I am today. So I understood that together with my wife, we are on an assignment to continue the work of our Father, and if that must be the case, I needed to seek the face of my Father to lead me in the way that I should go, and I must be ready to go in that way. I needed to seek the face of my Father, number one. Number two, so that He can lead me in the way that I should go. And number three, I must be ready to go in that way if I'm going to fulfill His purpose for me in marriage. If I'm going to fulfill my purpose in life, I must go in the way that He is leading. Okay? I want to say to you that marriage is very, very sweet. Very, very sweet. Every day for me is a new beginning. Every day for me is like new wine. Every day for me, I keep learning. I keep seeing new things. Yes, I've made some mistakes. I learn from my mistakes, and life is moving on. And I just, keep enjoying my marriage every day by day. Every day by day. If I have the second opportunity to marry my wife again, I will do that. And that's on a very serious note. So, if, however, you have not been enjoying yours like I am doing mine, then you can go back to the one who instituted marriage. Marriage is not meant to be endured. Marriage is meant to be enjoyed. All right? So if you're not enjoying your marriage, you need to go back to the one that instituted marriage and then let Him help you. For those who are yet to marry, I have just one counsel for you. And the counsel is in Proverbs chapter 3, verse 5 to verse 6. Trust in the Lord with all your heart, and lean not upon your own understanding. In all your ways acknowledge Him, and He will direct your path. If you want Him to direct your path, He will. But if you don't want Him to direct your path, then He won't. But I will advise you, allow Him to direct your path, and you'll not make any mistakes. Thank you so very much for staying with me. If you have any questions, you can send them in, and then we'll attend to them. Thank you so very much. God bless you.